Today we are going to study a poem named Keeping Quiet. So the name of the poem is Keeping Quiet. Written by Pablo Neruda. It is written by Pablo Neruda. First, let's know something about the poet. Pablo Neruda. He was born on 1904, that is July 12, 1904, in Parral, Chile. He adopted the pen name Pablo Neruda in the memory of Czechoslovak poet Jan Neruda and made literary contributions to the journal Selva Austral. Among his well-known works are Espana and a Corazon and a collection of poems, Canto General de Chile, an epic poem about the whole South American continent, its nature, its people, and its historical destiny. Neruda was conferred the Nobel Prize for Literature in the year 1971. So this is about the poet that he was born on July 12, 1904 in Parral, Chile. His famous works are Espana and e Corazon. It was written in 1937. Another work was a collection of poems. Name of which was Canto General de Chile. It was written in 1939. Another work was an epic poem about the whole South American continent. Moreover, he was conferred the Nobel Prize for Literature in the year 1971. This was all about the poet. Now, let's hear something about the poem. This poem, Keeping Quiet, is a call for a lesson for all human beings who had divided themselves on the basis of race, language, and nationalities. The poem is presented in the form of an exercise for meditation in silence. In such inactivity and silence, we can feel the strength of humanity. So, the poem, Keeping Quiet, is a lesson for human beings. Lesson of meditation. Lesson of meditation for human beings. Moreover, it gives the lesson to the people who divide themselves on the basis of race, language, and nationalities. Here is an exercise for meditation. situation makes people feel the strength of humanity. What do they feel? They feel the strength of humanity. Now let's have the summary of the poem. This poem shows everything related to meditation and introspection. The poet asks the reader to count 12 as an exercise of meditation and then asks them to sit still. This moment of extreme silence will be a refreshing one with no rush of life and no noise of the engines. In this refreshing moment of silence, the fisherman would be inactive and not harm the whales, and even the man gathering the salt will get some time from his schedule to look at his hands, and he feels free from his toilsome task caused to him. So, this poem is an exercise of meditation. Poet asks the readers to count 12 in silence, then to sit still. This moment will be very refreshing for him who is meditating. In this time, in this moment, the fisherman will not harm the fish. A laborer will feel free from his hectic schedule. Moreover, when everyone on the earth thinks of keeping quiet for some time and does not involve oneself in any activity, that moment will be a bliss. People who are all the time engaged in preparing themselves for chemical wars, which will leave no survivors behind, should find time to wear clean clothes and walk with their brothers, strengthening, empowering the message of peace and brotherhood. So, it's the message for the people. Preparing themselves for the chemical wars. His thoughts should not be confused with total inactivity. Life should not be associated with death. If we spend some time in deep silence doing nothing, we can get rid of the sadness of isolation. Then we will find time to understand ourselves better and escape from the threatening calls of death. The poet feels the earth teaches us how everything comes to an end and then comes to life again. One can revive a new life of peace and tranquility then. The poet brings an end to this session of meditation, instructing men to keep quiet and then leaves them in deep introspection. So, poet believes that life should not be associated with death. The earth teaches us how everything comes to an end and is back to life again. In this manner, one can revive a new life of peace. Thus, saying this, the poet leaves men in a deep introspection, instructing them to keep quiet. It was all about the summary of the poem. Now let's have the theme of the poem. Theme says that in the time of peace, in the moments of peace, in the vast treasure of deep silence, one can find a large resource of peace and tranquility. Silence creates an exotic moment where one forgets one's differences. The poem Keeping Quiet celebrates the necessity of introspection and the advantage of doing nothing for some time in life. This is just a heaven for those moments of life. So, the theme is keeping quiet for some time and doing nothing leads to a vast treasure of peace and tranquility. It is an exotic moment. It is nothing but heaven for us. This was all about the theme. This was all about the poem. Thank you.